Hello. How's everybody going? So I'll wait for a few more minutes until everybody comes on, and then we can start talking about the DOM. So actually, before we start talking about DOM, we will need to go a little bit about still the Boolean type and still about if-else, because we didn't have enough time last time. So I will take about 10 minutes just to explain if-else. It comes pretty natural to everybody, if-else. It's pretty easy. Hope everybody's doing fine. So last time we were talking about variables and then the basic types in JavaScript. So we went through strings and numbers, and we talked a little bit about objects also. Another thing that I need to mention is null and undefined, and what's the difference between those two. They seem pretty much similar, but they're really not. And then a little bit about Boolean. It's just true or false. It's from Boolean logic. And then I will show you how to do if-else. So is everybody up to speed? Does everybody has their project set up, their project copied on their local machine? So just if you want to communicate with me, you can just say in the YouTube chat, or you can send me through Slack any questions. So yeah. So I have opened my Visual Studio Code here, and you can see that I have an HTML file here and a script.js here where I will write all the code. Hello. So hello Željka, and hello Philip. I was just talking about that I will spend about 10 minutes explaining Boolean and if-else before we go to the DOM. So for everybody new, the DOM is documented objects that you need to modify to change the HTML. It's pretty much specific to JavaScript. Okay. So anybody else that knows how to program in some other language, this will be totally new to them. But before we start with DOM, we need to talk still about Boolean and if-else. Yeah. So welcome everybody. So let us talk first about Boolean. So you can write a new variable. So let's say var is David speaking, equals true. So that's about what you can do with booleans. So is David speaking? I'm speaking at the moment, and that's true. You can also say is David, okay, let's say not speaking, or is David sleeping? You can say false. So Boolean can be true or false. And you can set it up like this. So you can say, okay, is David speaking equals true, or you can have a Boolean logic operation there. So you can write it something like that, something like this. Let's say, remember that last time we wrote a person object. So let's write it again. So object person, a little bit of practice here. David, surname is Abram, and age is 30. So yeah. So what we can do here is we can say is person an adult. We can say it like this. So person age should be more than 18. If you try to console log this is person is not is David speaking, but is person an adult, and if you try it in our HTML file, open the console here, let's say top, so it will print true. So any like operation like is less than, is more than, or is equal can be interpreted as true or false statement. So it actually, this variable is person and adult, it gains a true or false value. It becomes a Boolean. So you can see here that I can write something like this: is is David 30. I can say person dot age. So this is a little bit specific with TypeScript. Sorry. You actually need to write 3 times equal. So equal 30. So equal sign in JavaScript is actually 3 equals in a row. You can use like 2 equals, one behind other, but the problem with that, there is some tricky parts in JavaScript, and I would, for time being, just say you just use the 3 equals for equality statements. So this is David 30 variable will have true value if the person.age is 30, or it will have false value if the person age property is not 30. Also, I can say is, let's say, is name not David. I can also say like person.name, so it's not equal to David. So it's not equal, it's written down exclamation point equal. I have a different font with ligatures. I can just like take that off if it will help you. Just let me see, get a second. Or I don't know where to change that. Okay, yeah. Let's say like that. Okay, can you see this better? So it's 3 times equal and exclamation point equal equal. So we can print those out. Is David 30 and is name not David? And we can see we have true, true, and false printed out. So is a person an adult will be true. Is David 30 is true. And is name not David, it's false because David is. Hi Vlado, welcome. So that's about it. So yeah, you can also write like is more. So let's say in is a person adult. So if you have 18 years, you're legally an adult. So probably you should write it like this. So is more or equal to 18. If you want to say less or equal, it's written like this. Yeah. So that's about Booleans. There are so equalities and more and less than. You can write it like this. So if you want, so there is a case for if else. So if you want to write, let's say, something, if you want to console log some string, let's say if person name is not David, you need to use if and else. So let us just go out there, and you can write. Let's try just write it out. So if person dot name it's not equal to David, we will write then else console log my name is David. So let us look this code. I will just increase a little bit more because it seems that you cannot see those. Okay, this is much better. So if you are coming from any other like programming language, this is like pretty normal to you. If you are new to programming, this is like a big deal for you. This is your first like if statement that you have written. So we can read this statement. So if person name is not equal to David, it will print out my name is not David. Else, if this statement is not true, it will print out my name is David. Let's try it out. Okay, it says my name is David here. If you just change in a person, so over here, I will just copy paste a little bit. If you write here the name of a person John, we can try it out, and it will say, oh, sorry, I have made a mistake somewhere. Oh, let's just delete this. We can try it out, and it will say my name is not David, because yeah, my person name is John and it's not David. This is really simple if else. So what about if we have something like this? Let's say at the moment it's 8 a.m. and we want to test out if it's like early in the morning, or if it's afternoon, or if it's evening. Let us try to write first. Let's say if hour is more than, let's say, 6 a.m. and hour is less than 12, console log it's morning. I will comment out everything up here. so it doesn't interfere with our code. You can also like comment it out or just delete it. Let us try to run this script. So let us see what will happen here. It's morning. Okay, great. Okay, so what can we write if we want to test it, like if it's afternoon, like between like 12 p.m. to like 6 p.m. So we can write another if statement here. N equal to 12. And oh yeah, I haven't mentioned it. This is just an AND sign. So if you remember from math, there is like AND and OR. So this one will be an AND sign, and this one will be an OR sign. In JavaScript, you need to write double AND and double OR signs here. If you have difficulties with writing this, like the AND sign is like on creation keyboard is Shift and 6, and like OR sign is like Alt GR and W. I will paste that out so everybody can copy if there are some problems with that. I totally missed that. I'm totally used to writing this, so yeah. Okay. So we've written already if it's morning, if it's between hour 6 and like hour 12, like 6 a.m. to 12, and this is like between 12 and 18, like 18, or we can have set 20, that's like 8 p.m. And we can write it console log it's afternoon. We can test it out. Okay, it says it's morning because I haven't changed anything, but let's say it's like 2 p.m. It will say it's afternoon. So what happened here? So as hour is 14, it went through the first statement, and this statement hour is more than 6, that's true, but hour is less than 12 is false, and this whole becomes false. So truth and false is equal to false. A little bit of math or like high school logic classes. So it goes to the next if statement, and it say hour is more or equal to 12, that's true, and hour is less or equal to 20, and it says yes, that's true. Truth and truth is equal, it's afternoon, and it will prompt it's afternoon. So let's try to run it again. It says it's afternoon. So if it's not like morning or it's afternoon, we can write it. We can write out like it's not morning or afternoon. But if you write it right here, let's write it's not morning or it's not daytime. The problem with if it's written like this, it will like write out it's afternoon and it's not daytime. What we want to do to have if it's not morning and if it's not afternoon, you should write out it's not daytime. We can write that with else if to connect everything. So let me just a little bubble here. Yeah. So if hour is more than 6 and hour is less than 12, it's morning. If it's hour between 12 and 20, it's afternoon, or else it's not daytime. So what will happen here, if the number is like more than 20, hour is more than 20, it will go through the first statement, this will be false. It will go to the second statement, this will be false. And it will end here and it will print it's not daytime. Let's test that. Let's say it's 23. It will print out it's not daytime. So this can look like daunting and like complicated, but we will on Tuesday we'll go through this like in depth with our exercise. So don't worry about this. This will all get like you will in the future you will write a lot more like if-else statements. So if now it's confusing, don't worry. It will get better and better. This is I wanted to show you the if-else statement so you can understand why Boolean is pretty important in programming. Because at the first glance, when I said like something is true or something is false, it seems like okay, whatever. So. Also, the thing that I haven't mentioned yet, it's undefined and null. So if you remember our types, we talked about string, we talked about numbers, we talked now about Boolean, we talked about objects. I said like forget symbols, because symbols are something that is pretty new and it's used really seldom. But null and undefined are pretty important for you to for you to understand JavaScript. So let me show you like what's undefined. So let's say that we want to print out some variable that doesn't exist, like dog. It will say dog is not defined. Okay, but what if we say var dog? So we define the dog, but we don't get any value. We don't give any value to the dog. So what will happen? The dog will now say undefined. So anything that's where you declare the variable, but you don't give any like value to the variable, it will say that that variable is undefined. So let us just like this. So what's the difference between like undefined and null? If you ever done like something with SQL or something with that, you will understand this pretty much like out of the gates. But for everybody else, like null is something that doesn't have any value. So let's say that for some person, let's write out var person. You can say the name of that person is David, but if you don't know the surname of that person, but you must define it at some value, you will write down null here. So person dot name will be David, but person dot surname is null. This means that you don't know the surname of the person, but you have like assigned some value to the person. So it's not undefined. Undefined means I haven't set the value yet. And the null means I have set this value because I don't know what's the surname of this person. So it's just a value that means I don't know what I should write here. That's null. And undefined is I haven't set that yet. Okay. So if there is any questions, you can ask directly to the YouTube chat or via Slack. So that's about what we need to know about if-else and what we will need to know about Boolean. We will go through it in more details on exercises and in the future, because that's pretty much important thing. Okay, let's go to the DOM. So, welcome to the next lecture. So so the DOM is something that's pretty specific to JavaScript, and it's pretty specific to the JavaScript that runs in the browser. DOM is actually the way that you manipulate. So you manipulate DOM to change the HTML. So let us go just to this agenda. What we will do, we will go through the document. So the document is just like it's a simplest to explain is just loaded up HTML inside your browser. That's the document. So query selector is the way that you select the HTML from the document. Then we'll talk about elements. So each tag that you write in HTML is actually an element. And then we'll go and try to create and remove some HTML in there. So if you downloaded the project with the git clone command, you can go in your terminal. Let me increase, or it's, can you see the terminal? Just if you can see what I'm writing, because I'm not sure if it looks okay. So if you like downloaded with git clone, you can go to that folder and just say git pull. What will happen here, so I'm already up to date, but if you haven't changed or got any more data from the repository in between those two lectures, it will pull all the changes that I've done in between the lectures. If you haven't gotten the git clone working, or there's some problem with your git or something like that, you can go to the just a second, the DOM page here. Okay, to the DOM page here and get the git link through this link here. So you can download the source zip here, or you can go to the Lockdown Learning and download it through here. Why am I talking about that? Because I've created a new folder called the DOM. There is an index.html here and a script.js file. So just that you're all up to speed and to see what's going on in here. Okay. You can like right click here, open containing folder, double click on index.html, and that will open this page here. It's a bit different than a page for JavaScript basics. It has some pictures here. And if you reload, each time you will get, you will get new random images. Those are images from one service that has like a lot of like open to use images. So is everybody up to speed? Are there any questions? Just write them down. There is a little bit delay between me speaking and between like typing in there. So just type out if there is any questions here. Okay. In about 10 minutes there will be a pause, so you can ask me all the questions there if you have any, and after like 10 minutes we can continue working. Okay, so let us go to this page, the DOM page with those the nice pictures here. We can refresh, so everybody will get different pictures here because they're totally random. Right click and inspect, and like up until now we were working everything in this console. We were writing out some queries. We have like done some statements in here, like addition or something like that. We created objects and so on. But today we will move to this element part. So elements, the tab, if you open this like if you go through these elements here, let me just you can see this is the pretty same thing that we have in this index HTML, because this is just an inspector, so you can see the HTML in this on this page. So yeah, so if you can see, if I go through the different elements here, you can see that it's highlighted on this part. If I go to this image, you can see the image is highlighted. If I go to this called span, you can see that the title of the image is highlighted. So this like P with a less and more, and like H1 here, and body and head and title and so on. Those are called in HTML, they're called elements or tags if you're coming like from old school XML era. But you can, in these elements, you can edit everything you see here. So let's try like changing the title here. You see I have like typed hello, pressed enter, and what it happens here, the title on our tab, Google Chrome tab, changed. So if you can go to any like page, so let's try go to like DuckDuckGo page. In here, inspect the back, open the head. There are a lot more like data here, but there is title here, and I can type it out hello, and you can see up here that like title changed. So don't worry, I haven't changed like on every DuckDuckGo page like the title to hello. I only changed on my local copy of it. So every time you open the web page in your browser, it actually copies the whole HTML and all the JavaScript and CSS. It downloads on your PC and then it runs in your browser. So don't worry, if I press F5, it will go back to the new tab. The same thing if I press F5 or refresh the page in our DOM, CroCoder Lockdown Learning, it will change back to DOM here. So hello, if I refresh, it goes back. The same thing, I can like open the body and like change the title of this page to the hello, this is David. And you can see it automatically changes to hello, this is David. So everything you can like change manually here, you can change through code. Okay. So let us try to figure out like how can you change through the code here, this HTML, these elements. So there are like three different like hierarchical variables that they're hidden in Chrome. They're called navigator. So navigator, if you type it out, it will like print out like a lot of different properties here and so on. The navigator is actually it has all information about your device and about your like your browser, like what type of browser are you running, who is like the creator of it. You can see Google Incorporator is creator of my browser. So if you're on mobile phone and you type navigator in your console, it will get you like battery life and is your like vibration on your phone enabled, or can you use like camera of your phone and so on. That's the navigator here. So navigator is like the main it represents your whole browser. After that, there is something called window, and window is actually the tab is it a tab? No, it's the whole window here. If we go here and try to say new tab, actually the window can be used to control like opening the tabs and so on. it gets like a lot, it has like a lot of properties, a lot of different things. The most important one that I need to show you is like window dot inner height. So what this does is actually like how high is my window without the toolbars and tabs here and so on. And window inner width is how wide is my window here. If I like, just like if I increase, you can see up here what's happening. If I increase here, I said window inner width is 1298 and now is 873. So you can see some data here about your window and what you're working on. If you are on a smaller screen, you will get a smaller amount here, as that's normal. The third part, so the navigator is like the father object, and after that is like the window, and after that is the document. If you print the document here, you will actually get the whole HTML like from this page, just like prompted here. See? Yeah, that's pretty cool. So we use like console log until now, but if you actually say like console dir, so console dir, if you know a little bit about like Windows command prompt, if you paste dir, if you enter dir in your command prompt, it will just list all the files inside your folder that you're currently. It's like it's a little bit like that also here. If we say console dir document, it will actually, oh no, oh okay, yeah, okay, it won't prompt the HTML, but it will prompt all the properties and all different, like after that, like they're called methods that we can use to like manipulate the document. But we won't go through all this. You will learn like most of those in exercises, so it's not really important thing to go through now. But what you can do with document, there are some. So, but what you can do is it's to query the document, and you will get different elements. You will get different results for the query strings that you use. So let us see first our HTML in our VS Code. So yeah, we want so the HTML tags. So each HTML tags need to start with doc type HTML. It's just a declaration that this file is HTML, and it need to have the HTML tag. So you probably seen this if you are at all interested in like programming or HTML, or if you have ever downloaded the page and then opened the index.html, you will see like something like this, like HTML, then inside that it's head and body. So head is mostly like metadata, let's say like title in there. Let's ignore what is link here. And the body is everything that we see in our HTML file. So if I write here, let's say p hello and save, go back to this file, you can see that here is the hello that I've written. So let us go and see, like, so head is pretty much explainable. It's just a head of the HTML with all the metadata. The body is what we see. But what is like P? P actually stands for paragraph. So that's like a section of the text. H1 is actually heading type 1. Like if you use Word document, Office Word, there is like H1, H2, and so on. It's the same thing in HTML. So we can, let's say, like H2 hello. Oops, sorry. h3 world, and if you like save and reload, we will see that the DOM is the biggest, hello is like a second second biggest, and the world is the smallest one, because they're different, like heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. So paragraphs are just for like random size of text in here, and BR is like break. That's like control. So everything that you write like break in front, it will just have, it's a break line. So it will go to a new line, and then that is a break. It's if you delete, I can show you, if I delete this break line here and press F5, actually these two images are almost touching. So if I go back and put a break line here, yeah, these images are more is further apart. Okay, so yeah, div are like our vanilla tags. Anything that doesn't have any like meaning or so are divs. Those are, yes, it says right here, the div element has no special meaning at all. It's just meaningless. But you can use it like a filler if you don't know what to put. Like if it's a paragraph, it's not a paragraph, it doesn't have any words in there, you can use div. And also what you can do is you can put anything inside your let's say div. So we say this is div, we will close the div here, and I can put another div inside, and I can put another div inside, and then say hello. If you look this in our browser and we can like inspect this, we can see that like div and then hello inside. So you can just nest them like this without any problem. It's useful sometimes, it's not useful most of the time, so just hang on here. So this is like a useful part here. So this is a div that has an image inside. Let me change this because this is wrong, written like here. Written like here. Just name like image. So the right way to write the image tag is img and not image, but the browser will go either way if you write them. So there is div here, and inside nest there is an image and a span. So span is like it's similar to a paragraph is for like multi-line of text or a lot of text, and span is for just a small amount of text, just like, let's say, a title of an image or something like that. If we watch here, okay, new images. So you can see here there is a div, there is image here and span here. You can see they're inside of this div here. So if you look closely, it will say that div is like 842 pixels width, and like image is 400, and span is 370 and so on, and div like gets everything inside of it. So guys, any questions? Are you up to speed up to here? Have you opened your browser? Have you went through this? It's really important for us to go through this, because we will spend a lot of time looking at our HTML, and when you have some like mistake in HTML or in the future in CSS, you will need to open your browser and go to elements and then see what's going on in here. If you want to like inspect just only one like the image here, you can like open element and search in your HTML like where is my element like image there, or you can use this like element, like select an element in the page to inspect it, like Control Shift C, and you can go through here and click on it, And what will happen, it will highlight or it will select the element in your elements part, in your HTML. Yeah, or another image, you can see, you see that as I'm moving my mouse, like while selected this inspector thingy, it actually moves through the elements here. See, automatically move. Yeah. If you don't want the pause or something, just let me know, so I will continue to do. If I get like 3 yes or something like that, I will continue. I'm not sure if I'm going like too fast or I'm going too slow, so just let me know so I can adjust my speed. Okay. So no questions, no nothing. I'm waiting for the... Okay. If there are no questions, okay. Yeah, great. Everybody is saying continue, and I'll continue to write this. Tutorial, more cowbell, maybe next time. Maybe next time we will do the cowbell thing. Okay, so we have opened the index.html in the DOM, and what we can do, let us try to write out the query selector thing. So the document, you need to remember the navigator window in document, and we can go to the query selector. So query selector is something that's a method from document. I will explain in the future when we talk about function what's a method. That's, let's say, for simplicity's sake, that's object function at the moment. Let's think like that. So when you remember, like console.log, like .log is a method of console. Let's say it like that. It just, that's the way the developers speak. So you know, you will see in the future what's the difference between function and methods. So let's try write document query selector and pass in here p. Okay. What we got here is actually a first paragraph on our HTML page. If we say document query selector all p, we will actually get a list. It's called a node list of all the p's. Okay, it's a bit harder to read here, but there is an let us go, an inner HTML and outer HTML. It actually selects all different paragraphs here. If we say like console log document query selector all p, we will get, okay, we'll get the pretty much the same. So those two are to get like the all elements that are named p, or get the first one that's named p. Let us write that here. So we can say const paragraph is document query, no curriculum enabled, but query selector p. And we can print out that paragraph. Let's try it. So, okay, we selected the first paragraph in our HTML, and we assigned the value of that element inside the paragraph variable. So this paragraph variable is actually now an element. It has a value of an element in our HTML. Yeah. So you can console out. There is a thing with selectors here. If you select this element paragraph and go to the element and go copy selector, actually what will print, it will print something like this. If we try to say document query selector and just paste it in a string here, what we'll get, we will get the thing that we wanted, that we highlighted it through the elements part. So I will go through it again. So select, let's say this one now, right click on the element here, copy selector. And if you go to the console, we can paste it and we can get that selector here. So this is something strange that we got here from copying that selector. Actually, if you know a little bit of CSS, you will know this is a CSS selector. Danica in the future will go on the lecture deep into CSS. For now, we will just like scratch the surface. We won't like go through what's happening in this one. We will go in much like lighter way. But this is a CSS selector. So if you want to Google it, it's called a CSS selector. If you want to search it out, if you want to know, oh, I misspelled. So you know what to search here. There is a lot of like different tutorials about CSS selector and so on. Danica will go in depth in the future here. For now on, you just need to remember, if you want to get the first if you want to get the first paragraph, you go just query selector and paste it p in here. If you want to get the first image, you just say image. So it selected this image here. If we want to get, let's see what's also in here, like the first span, we can use the same thing here, span. Okay. So the most important thing is that you are okay with query selector and that you got your first paragraph in here, so we can see like what we can print here from this paragraph. So when we print the paragraph, let's try it again. You get the whole HTML, like the whole HTML element here and so on. If you want just the text without the parentheses here, you need to write here, just a second, you need to write here text content. So paragraph.text content. And you can see here, if we refresh, it will print out only the text in there. So this actually paragraph text context is a string. Is a string that lives inside your DOM here. Okay? So we can try like, okay, let's grab our title, document H1 or the heading 1 here, and let's console log title dot text content. Let's see what will happen here. We got our first the paragraph text content, and after that the h1 text content. Okay, pretty cool. But what if we do something like we've done during the object there? Text content is equal hello, or let's say hello world. What will happen now? Let us see. Refresh. We've changed the title of our, we changed the text of our h1. So the same thing we can do with paragraph. Let's say paragraph text content some text. Oh, it changed to some text. Pretty neat, right? It's pretty simple to do it like this. So if you want to change like a text content of something, it's just get that document, get that element with the query selector, and you can change text without any problem. Okay. Is that pretty clear? So, okay. Let us go back to the HTML part. So we've changed the text, but you can see that the thing that I was totally ignoring here are these parts on our like div element. So let's try to write something like this. It's a div. It has something inside, some text content, and then we put something called class. Let's say class is item. So what are these things? Actually, everything that you write here inside your element, let's say class, or like in image here, source, those are called attributes. The special like attributes for in HTML are pretty much like classes and some other that we'll talk about. But these classes things are pretty much important. So why are those really important? Because if you want to get like this div that is marked class item, you can get it without any problem here, just by writing const. So let's say what we said. We said let's class item. Const item equals document dot query selector, and in parentheses you don't write like just like this item, but you put a dot before the item here, and we can print out the item. Oh, let me just comment out this code, and we can try this. And what will happen here, you will get that that element not by using their like tag name, the element name div, but using the class. So this one dot here is actually called CSS class selector for everybody to know, and you can like pinpoint your class without any problem. So you can put like item 1 here, and you can see it got the item 1 div. It got the div that has class item 1. Yeah, pretty cool. There is also one special attribute. It's called ID. Why special? Because ID must be unique on each HTML page. So you cannot like do like two same elements with the same ID. It won't get you an error message, but it will get some crazy shenanigans inside the HTML. It will work perfectly until there is something that's like really buggy. So if you need to use ID, it's unique per HTML page. So I can say ID is like, let's say item 1 with dash in front. And if I want to get a query selector with ID, I need to put not a dot, but hashtag. So if we want to reload that, yeah, if we get item 1 with query selector that has hashtag, because there is an ID item 1. Okay, everybody up to speed? So these two are pretty much special attributes, class and ID. So let us try. So the class is so special that it has some special abilities, and I can show you right now. Let's say that we want to print. Okay, we can go back to with class selector here. We want to print all classes that are assigned on some element, let's say the item element here. We can just call class list. So let's try. Oh, it's a list, it's length 1. The first value, the first node in your list, it's item. If we change here and put it like item OK, and we refresh here, it will have item and OK in here. So what we can do here is programmatically add some new, let's say, item class list dot add vary. So let us test out. It will have item OK vary. Okay, cool. The same thing that we can do is not just add but remove. So let us remove the OK part. So now it just have item vary. Okay, so let us remove that. The only one thing that's usable here is toggle. So we can toggle something. Let us try that. So if there is in class list, if it's there already OK, it will remove the OK class. Or if in the class list is not there, is no OK to be found, it will put there an OK. So let's try here. We toggled the OK, so it's not here. If we write again item, so yeah, we need to catch that. Let us first do this. So const item is the query item. Oh man, there is already an item. Sorry guys, there is item here. Yeah. If we toggle, if we class list dot toggle OK. So OK is now visible here and on that div. We can like inspect this to see if that's true. Okay, yeah. So div class list item OK. If we call again class list toggle and we go with hello, hello has only one class. So why is that important? I'm talking about classes, removing them, toggling them, and like adding them. Why is that important? Okay. So the classes are like the best way to write your CSS. So every element you give some class in there, you can manage that through CSS, like change their color of hello. So let us do that as a test. In the future, Danica will have a lecture again that will show you how to do that much in depth. So CSS is actually style, so we need to write inside our head here a style tag, and after that we need to write our selector. Let's say item, open like this, and write here color equals red. So it is similar to our objects in JavaScript. It has some selectors here, and that's about CSS. So I'm really bad at CSS. This is like really easy thing to do. Don't ask me like in-depth CSS because I really don't know that. But for now, if you can see here, our hello became red. So what we can do here is not put like an item here, but red selector, like red class here. And whenever we change this class, when we toggle the red class on item, it will change the color. So let us try this. Let's red. What? Have I done something wrong? Let me just... Oh, I haven't refreshed the page. Yeah, okay. My bad. Yeah. It changes the color every time we toggle red. So if you want like change something, like show something, let's say a model, so you know there's those like spam pop-ups or like a form for your login, you can change it with CSS, like show it with CSS, remove it with CSS, or just change color in like infinity here. So that is what you do with your classes. So this CSS, again, Danitza will go in depth with that. I'm pretty bad at it. You will see in the future how my styling and designing skills are really, really awful. Just so you know. Yeah, so that's a pretty cool thing. Another thing from like the class list, if you want to know if the item here, the element item, has the class red, you can use the contains here, and you can say item class list contains red. And what will happen here, if we refresh, it will say true, it does contain it. So when we toggle it and say item class list contains red, it will say class list contains constants. Okay, it's false. So you can see like if it contains, do something. If it doesn't contain, do something else. You can write JavaScript code with that without any problem. Okay. Is everybody up to speed? Is this okay? Okay, guys. Let us comment out this and go to some other attributes. As I said before, there are some attributes like in this image, like source. So let us grab the image, the first image, document, query selector, image. This will get us the first image. Let us like just try it out. Okay, it got us our first image. So we want to change, let's say that we want to change this attribute called source. So source on image is actually from what URL we want to get our image here. So what we can do here, we can say something like that, image.source is equal, and then we can paste something else. Let's say that we want to say something like this here. I'll paste it in the chat. If we reload this page, what will happen? Actually, CroCoder logo will come here and not the image there. Let's try us removing this and refreshing. It's a random image. Okay. So that's source here. But what if we want to set some like attribute that it's not here, it's not really standard, like our browser doesn't expect it to be here, we can use actually image dot, let's say, set attribute. So set attribute name David. It's not my day to be typing. Okay, let us refresh this, and you can see on our console log here, we set name equals David. Let us test this out. Yeah, name equals David. I want to just warn you guys, don't put like non-traditional attributes on your tags. That's a really bad way to like deploy some website, and then if accidentally the standard changes and now name becomes something, it can do like really stupid bugs, and you will need to go back and then redeploy your website and so on. So don't use it like this. It's not really worth it. If you want to put some like data inside your element, you can use it like that, like this. Use the data dash and then write something. Let's try like writing like surname is Abram and data age is 30. Unfortunately, yeah, something like this. Okay, now there is some data name, data surname, and that data age. If we can see, here is everything written down. Why it's really important to use like data dash here? Because there was a lot of problems like in early days, HTML and JavaScript and so on, and then the guys who developed the HTML 0.5, they said, oh man, this is really bad, we need to introduce something new, and that's called like that element dataset. So if you call like image.dataset, what we'll actually get printed out is an object. Is an object that has name, surname, and age. So every attribute that begins with data and dash, it will be saved in this image dataset. So any data that you need to send on your some element or something like that, it can be set with data dash and then property name, and later on, like you just get that element and then you get the data with dot dataset here. Also, if you want to get attribute, like non-standard attribute here, you can say get attribute data age, and you can say const age equals, print it out. So there is a get attribute and set attribute. Get attribute, you just write the name of that attribute, and with set attribute, you need to write first the name and then the value of it. So let's try. It says string 30. So I must beware this, because every attribute becomes string when you put it on an element. So you must know like what type is here, that this is like number and not a string, and you need to transform it back to the number here if you want to use it for multiplying or addition. The multiplying is not really a problem, but like if I want to say age plus 2 here, it will say 302, and it print it out, yeah, like string, and like 30 plus 2 is 32 and not 302. But good news, what you can do, this little cheat, you can just say number, then inside of those put age. What will happen, it's a 32, and it will print it out like a number, just so you know. I will repeat this ad nauseum, because we will do a lot of like getting attributes and then trying to multiply something or doing some calculation with that. So this is like pretty important for you to know, but in the future we will go through it again a lot of times. So yeah. Are you all up to speed? Any questions? Just like drop me a question in YouTube chat if there is any. If there are none, I will continue to trying to not just like get an element, but creating an element and adding it to the document body. Okay. So as I said before, there is something called document, but there is also like what you can do is just say document body here. So let's try to print this out. As I said, there is something called document, and then there is called some body. If you want to get the body or head of our document, you don't need to write a query selector for it. You can just say document.body, but the same thing is if you say document query selector body. So these two these two things are totally the same. They're the body of document. So just you know, or even you can just ignore writing document and say just body. Oh no, you can't. You must say document body. Oh. They're always changing stuff. I'm actually, I didn't know that. I learned something today. You must say document body. Okay. I was totally wrong about that. Okay. So what we want to do is add something to document body. So if we try something like this to say document body is document body plus, let's say, text. Let us try what will happen here. No, you can't do it like that. So you can't really set it like this. Let's try just say text. What will happen here? No, you can't do it like that. What we need to do is actually give them value of HTML element. So how we do that? We cannot set just string in there and say body, its value, it will become text. What we need to do is actually create a new element. So let us try to do that. Let's say const element is equal to document. And now not query selector, but create element. And we say, I want to create a new element that's of type of div. As you remember before, we had like a div here. And let's try print it out. Okay, it's an empty element, div element. Okay, it's printed out here. If we want to look around here, there is no empty div element here. It hasn't put here. Why? Because it's still in the memory, it's not added to the document. So if you want to add this to the document, what you need to do is say document body dot append child element. Let's try this out. What will happen here, on the end of the body, there will appear a div here, an empty div. Let us try change the text content of the element. Let's say text, or text context. Refresh this. What will happen on the end, like behind our CroCoder logo, it will say text. So what we done here is to JavaScript, we changed the HTML as creating a new div and adding it to the end of our HTML, HTML document body. Yeah. Okay. Let us try to create something else. Let's say something like this. Const. Let's create a new image. Document dot create element image. And then let's say element dot append child image. Let's try it like that. So we have an element, we created an element, we added some text in here, so text. Then we created an image, and then we added that image to the element. Let us see what will happen here. Okay, still there is text, but in text there is an image tag. Remember, we haven't set the source, so it doesn't exist at the moment. So let's try to do that. So image.source is equal, and I will copy to the chat again and paste here, and let's try it out. So there is our div element with text, and image with source Unsplash. Pretty cool. But what if we want not create something, but actually remove it? So what we need to do, let's say, is we want to remove after everything here. We want to remove that element. So we can have remove child element. Let's try what will happen. Okay, it's not here. Let's try just comment this to see what's happening. Go F5. Okay, here is the image. And if we say document body remove child element, it disappears. So this way we can add and remove different elements. This is pretty important stuff, because all manipulation of the DOM through JavaScript can be made like this. There is also some different things that we need to know, and this, like, let's say console log element dot parent element. What this will print out is actually the body. So why it printed the body? Because the body is actually parent of our new created element here. So if you want to quickly remove some element from your HTML and you don't know the parent of the, so if you remember before, we created the document body dot remove child. If you don't know the parent of the, if you don't have the variable or the value or the way of querying the parent element of that element you want to delete, you can actually write something like this: element dot parent element dot remove child dot element. So what we'll do here is I have my element, I will get the parent element of my element, then remove child element from my parent element. What will happen here? Yeah, it disappeared. It's null. So our element parent element is null because element doesn't have a parent anymore. Let us try it again. There is our element, but it's totally, it's without parent. So remember, I'm talking about null. So our element had a parent, but is now null because it was set before. So just, you know, if I paste it about here when we created an element and try it out, oh, it will say null all the way. Okay, it doesn't matter. I thought this is a good example, but it's not. But you can see, like, null means that we don't know who is the parent of it. If we comment out this line, remove child, you can see actually that here is the div, and parent of the div, it's body. Okay, guys, what do you think about this? Is it complicated or is it simple? So if you want to learn like React, or if you want to learn Angular or something of any framework written in JavaScript, you actually need to know this. So you want to write a lot of code like this using React, but React under the hood uses this manipulation to change like HTML. It's pretty important to know what are the limitations of creating elements here and putting in the HTML, and how can you remove something, how can you like create elements and so on. So on Tuesday we'll go deeper in this, and we will try different elements to see how are they like parsed and shown on our HTML page, and we can like try to build our index HTML from scratch, because that's pretty much important. After that, we will use JavaScript to add some cool stuff to code. Yeah. So yeah, there is a lot of it to remember. But I have a quick cheat sheet for it, and it's called actually Googling it. So if you know any developer, nobody remembers anything by heart. What you do is actually the Google things, like what's the problem. There are some good some good like websites where you can see everything. So let's say Mozilla JavaScript documentation. If you open it, it's called MDN, and you open here and just you say, okay, how can I don't know, what's query selector, and you can get, I will paste here in chat, you can get like quick snippets and so on, like what's going on in here. Okay, this is like a bad thing, but you can say document. Okay, and you can say, okay, in DOM, document object model, great. And you can see here like an element, and you can see everything here, like how to get started with HTML. There is a lot of documentation here. So this developers Mozilla is actually what's going on in like JavaScript, how to use JavaScript, like everything documented in really in real details here. If you say something like, see, document, like the first few, the first few will get you the MDN. Like you can see document query selector. Here is all documentation about query selectors. Everything you need to know about them. So the most, I really like can't remember everything, and I Google often things. So that's not like a bad thing to Google everything you don't remember. After some time, you will remember all the like basic stuff, and everything more advanced, it will be just somewhere like just out of your reach to remember everything what's going on here. So let me turn my camera actually. Yeah. I would really I really like the MDM from Mozilla, because they have everything really written like in details. So if you need something to remember, you just go here and you bookmark this page, and you have it like every time you develop something in browser, it will just show you here. Let's do this. So every time you do something, you actually have everything in your bookmarks. If you show bookmark page, you can even like have quick ways of remembering everything that you need to learn. But don't worry about not remembering, or like still not being able to like write code like as fast as me or something like that. I'm trying to slow down, but still sometimes I just like forget that I'm teaching someone and I'm trying to write code. So on exercises, we'll go through this ad nauseum, so we will know. So first exercise on Tuesday, and after that, it's each Saturday we'll have a morning session. So I will prepare you some tasks or so you can complete like on Saturday. So you can like exercise a lot more, and of course ask me any questions if you are not able to complete those tasks or something like that. Is that cool, guys? Okay, I'll wait a few minutes if somebody has any question or something like that. So I hope this was informational at least for you guys. I know that this is like pretty basic stuff, but this will just like get more complicated really quick, because you will need to have all these like different ways, or like different you need to learn like program like by learning all these like simple things, and then creating really more complex code. Okay. I'm looking a little bit more on. So if you want to ask on, if you want to ask me something directly, you can DM me, or if you can ask public, you can go to the channel called Help Ask CroCoder. I haven't like told anyone about that, but there are 23 people in there, so you just send me a question if you want. Okay, guys. Have a nice weekend. Have like a big meal on Easter. I hope you can see your families. We are stuck here in Zagreb. But yeah, have a nice, happy Easter, guys. See you later. Hear from you. Bye.